This is the Barbados Today afternoon news for Friday, April 21st. Thank you for joining us. I am Mary-Claire Williams. Prime Minister Freundel Stuart is calling for urgent consideration to be given to the future of three key state enterprises. As pressure mounts on government to cut the overall deficit, Stuart has ordered an immediate review of the operations of the Queen Elizabeth Hospital, the Barbados Transport Board, and the Sanitation Service Authority. The call for the review comes even as the local private sector continues to press the Stuart administration to take decisive action to address the island's economic challenges. Only yesterday, President of the Barbados Private Sector Association, Charles Herbert, reiterated a call for fiscal reform and a reduction of the deficit. His call came ahead of a meeting of the BPSA today to update members on some of its recommendations to government. Local representatives of the financial services sector are being warned that they could be left behind if they do not keep up with ongoing changes within the industry. The warning comes from Managing Director and CEO of the British Virgin Islands Financial Services Commission, Robert Matavius. He was delivering the annual lecture of the Barbados Financial Services Commission last night under the theme Financial Services for the Future, Courage, Candor and Common Sense. Pointing to several regional regulated non-bank financial services, he said the sector has undergone massive evolution in the past decade, and there is no indication that the changes could slow down.
So the urgency of some of the Caribbean financial centers engaged in cross-border financial services activities is to ensure both individually and collectively that we are credible, compliant, transparent, cooperative, competitive, vibrant, and clean. Now more than ever, we are required to act decisively, proactively, with common sense to move our financial services sectors forward in a way that neither threatens them nor places them at risk of becoming collateral damage. In doing this, we must recognize a shared direction of travel, one that leads to our winning enhanced international respect for our determination to remain jurisdictions that are reputable, credible, and well-regulated is the only direction we should be moving.
Meanwhile, Chairman of the FSC, Sir Frank Aline, says the Commission is now focused on fine-tuning its systems to protect the sector against adverse global developments.
Central to the pursuit of higher levels of cost effectiveness is the implementation of an e-filing system. The procurement of hardware preparatory to the commencement of the installation of an e-filing system has commenced. Assuming that no unforeseen setbacks emerge, a soft rollout of the system is planned for July 2017. The debugging process of the system will commence with the assistance of private sector stakeholders immediately following the initial public engagement.
Trinidad and Tobago's President Anthony Carmona says he would like all 15 CARICOM member states to sign on to the Caribbean Court of Justice as their final court of appeal. To date, only Barbados, Belize, Dominica and Guyana have adopted the court as their final appellate jurisdictions. Carmona was delivering a lecture at the UWI Cave Hill campus last night, and he said the reluctance of the other states to move away from the London-based Privy Council is working against the spirit of regional integration.
Why have we yet not all subscribed to the jurisdiction of the Caribbean Court of Justice? The arguments for a common jurisprudence have been exhausting as it is exhausting. And they will not be exhaustible. Perhaps the day will finally come when we can all take pride in and responsibility for defining, shaping, writing, and ultimately rewriting our own jurisprudence and laws in the context of our own peculiarities and the relationships among our member states. This deficit is but one of the voids in the region that mitigates against the spirit of the Caribbean integration movement, the realization of a Caribbean identity.
However, Carmona acknowledged that this is a decision for the people of the various countries.
And I don't feel, for example, that as president I ought to necessarily impose my view. I probably can speak to you privately about it on the populace at large. Because the bottom line is that there are protocols, there are traditions, and at the end of the day, I always say that the people decide.
There's regional and international news after this short break.
Who call and get your yams and potatoes? Wait, my girl, how you want to see you for long?
I can't how you keeping, but you don't sell the nation paper no more.
But that paper ain't selling. This month now I stop selling that. Look, one time I would have make a little dollar on the Sunday sun. But when Sunday night, I still trying to get the weather there.
Well, you know you can't call that the Sunday sun no more. You gotta call that sunset news. Call at no time that news stale.
People complain that them ain't got nothing in it to read, and the price keep going up all the time. A woman abused me so sick the other day, telling me that she does read Barbados Today online for free. I can't take that abusing soul, so I switched to my potatoes and yams.
Well, let me tell you, if pork selling, you got to raise pigs. How much for the yams?
Oh, 75 cents a pound.
But that's cheaper than that stale news. Give me
How much you want?
a pound.
Only a pound? Anyhow, these eating real good. Let me wrap them up for you. Come.
The Barbados Today, news you can trust.
In news from the region, marine and environment experts from around the Caribbean have been meeting in St. Lucia to assess the impact of climate change on the region's coastal areas. They say while countries are beginning to recognize the need to address the effects of climate change, they are concerned that the marine environment has not been receiving the attention it deserves. We get more in this report from HDS News Force in Castries.
For the first time, marine and environment experts convened a regional gathering to assess the health of marine and coastal ecosystems in the Caribbean. Newton Eriste is the operations director of Canary, a center for energy, ecosystems, adaptation, and climate resilience. He says the meeting sums up what is known about the impact of climate change on the sea and coasts and explores what needs to be done to both adapt and bounce back from hard knocks dealt by climate change.
Fisheries sector is generally undervalued in the region because the values only look at the landings of fish and does not consider the socioeconomic value of fisheries, the employment opportunities and value within the countries. So we're actually trying to tease out the value and the importance of the fisheries sector when it comes to the countries, as well as in relation to damage and loss to climate change.
And finally, on the international scene, French police say they have identified the gunman who shot dead a policeman on Thursday, but they are yet to release his name. Local media say the 39-year-old lived in the city's suburbs and he has been seen as a potential Islamist radical. He wounded 2 police officers before security forces shot him dead on the Champs-Élysées. Reports say a pump-action shotgun and knives were found in his car. Another man suspected of possible links to the attacks has turned himself in to Belgian police. And the Prime Minister, Bernard Cazeneuve, says security forces have been fully mobilized ahead of Sunday's presidential election. That's news this afternoon. Remember, you can get more on our website, www.barbadostoday.bb. You can also subscribe to our e-paper, email updates, and like us on Facebook. We're on Izumi Media in bus terminals and Screenplay at supermarkets and gas stations near you. Or you can tune in to Channel 99 on Flow TV or Mix 96.9 FM for more news. I am Mary Claire Williams. Good afternoon.